Yuka's here on set. Yuka, it's been hailed as the mother of all deals. The EU and India have sealed a major free trade agreement.
Well, Monty, is the culmination of nearly 2 decades of on-again, off-again negotiations. After stalling, talks were relaunched in 2022 and were accelerated over the past few months amid US President Donald Trump's erratic tariff policies. The broad deal eliminates or significantly reduces tariffs on more than 90% of goods traded between the two. Simon Morris tells us more.
Both the EU and India are hailing it as the mother of all deals. The two parties concluded the long-awaited trade pact on Wednesday, which will cut tariffs on almost 97% on all EU exports, including cars, wine, and olive oil. Brussels expects this to help double its exports to the world's most populous nation by 2032, and save the bloc around 4 billion euros annually.
We are creating a market of 2 billion people, the world's second and fourth largest economies, two giants who choose partnership in a true win-win fashion. A strong message that cooperation is the best answer to global challenges.
For its part, India will gain greater access to European markets for its main exports, such as textiles, jewelry, machinery and appliances, chemicals, and base metals.
This is not merely a trade agreement, it's a new blueprint for shared prosperity.
The deal comes at a time when both parties are looking for economic stability in an increasingly complex world rocked by Washington's ever-evolving tariffs. One expert has highlighted that the move towards diversification will build self-reliance.
Europe and India need each other today like never before. Even though we've seen these efforts and we've seen negotiations go for more than a decade on this free trade agreement, it only came to pass at this particular geopolitical juncture, and that says something of the world we live in.
Under the deal, India's sectors hit by 50% U.S. tariffs would see relief, and the EU gets to reduce dependency on China. Though agreed upon, a formal signature for the accord is expected later this year, with EU ratification as early as 2027.
Well, it's not yet a done deal. We've seen how another major trade deal with South America's Mercosur bloc has hit a number of stumbling blocks.
Well, that deal was first announced back in 2019 and was finally signed this month. But the European Parliament then refused to ratify it until the EU's highest court has ruled on whether it complies with the bloc's treaties. And remember, the major sticking point in that one has been agricultural goods. The FTA with India also needs approval by EU member states and lawmakers, as well as the Indian Parliament. And while it covers a vast majority of goods and services traded between the two, the deal excludes many farming products considered politically sensitive on both sides. For the EU, tariffs will gradually go down to zero for things like olive oil, non-alcoholic beer and processed food. But the agreement does not cover dairy products such as milk and cheese, as well as cereals. The EU, for its part, has not made any concessions on things like sugar, rice, soft wheat, beef and poultry. Another caveat is on sustainability. The Paris Agreement does not feature as an essential element of the trade deal, meaning the FTA cannot be suspended if India decides to one day withdraw from the climate convention.
Well, Boeing has returned to annual profit for the first time since 2018.
Yeah, as we know, the plane maker has been grappling with the aftermath of disasters involving its 737 MAX jets, worker strikes, production delays, and more safety incidents. It's finally swung to profits in the final quarter of 2025, bringing annual profits into the green. Boeing delivered 600 planes last year, the most since 2018, and nearly double last year's output. The quarterly revenue was boosted by a $10.6 billion gain stemming from the sale of its navigation software unit. This lifted Q4 net profit to $8.2 billion, compared with a loss of $3.9 billion in the fourth quarter of the previous year. Full-year profits came in at $1.9 billion, a remarkable improvement compared with a loss of $11.9 billion back in 2024. Now, Boeing's shares, though, dropped in the stock market despite posting better than expected results. That's because much of the improved profits came from the asset sale, and progress in the underlying plane-making business still disappointed investors.
And finally, Yuka, for business, fishing is not the easiest trade to make a living in, and climate change is really adding to the challenges.
Yeah, rising sea temperatures have led to some aquatic animals moving into waters they're not native to. In Cyprus, fishermen have been battling invasive fish that are killing off local species in the Mediterranean and affecting their livelihoods. As well as calling on the EU to help control their number, some are trying to eat their way out of the problem. Luke Traeger has the story.
For Cypriot fishermen, invasive species have become the bane of their profession.
First to appear was the toadfish, which is a great cancer. It's toxic, can't be consumed, and it destroys everything in the sea, offspring and whole fish, meaning it eats them entirely.
Another pest, the lionfish, which first started showing up in the waters around Cyprus in 2013.
It consumes all of the offspring. It leaves nothing and it multiplies because it has no enemies.
Beautiful and dangerous in equal measure due to its venomous spines, the lionfish made its way to the Mediterranean from the Red Sea. It thrives in warm water, and with the Med warming 20% faster than the global average according to an EU Fisheries Commission, its population is exploding. Various initiatives have tried to tackle invasive species, from the EU paying fishermen nearly €5 a kilo for catching toadfish to control the number, to recruiting scuba divers to cull lionfish near wrecks, on reefs and in marine reserves. But those are stopgap measures, and now there may be another way to at least deal with the lionfish, getting it on the dinner table.
When people learn to use it, to eat it, there'll be more demand and automatically it'll be counted all the more, because if no one wants it, why should we fish it?
Lionfish is already a delicacy in Japan, and as long as those spines are fully removed, it can be safely eaten. What's more, it's competitively priced compared to more popular fish on the menu, and its fluffy and tender meat holds up too. Only time will tell now if this invasive species has met its match in the human stomach.